Mina lived with her mother, Sarah, in a small, quiet village at the edge of a busy town. Their home was simple, with wooden walls and a tiny kitchen where Sarah cooked meals every day. Mina loved her mother very much. Sarah worked as a maid in the town's courthouse, cleaning floors, dusting shelves, and serving tea to the people who came and went. Even though their life was simple, Sarah made sure Mina never felt poor. She encouraged her daughter to dream and to learn, telling her that knowledge could take her anywhere. Mina was a curious girl. Every morning she helped her mother tidy their small home before school. After school, she would rush to the little marketplace or library to borrow books and read anything she could find. Mina loved stories about brave people and clever thinkers who changed the world. She often imagined herself standing in front of a crowd, speaking with confidence, helping people in trouble, and solving problems that seemed impossible. Sometimes, Mina accompanied her mother to the courthouse. She liked the tall building with its big wooden doors and shiny floors. The courthouse smelled of polish and old paper, and Mina found it fascinating. She would sit quietly in a corner while her mother worked, watching the people in the courtroom. She noticed the lawyers who spoke quickly and the judges who nodded seriously as they listened to cases. Mina paid close attention to everything, learning about how laws worked and how people behaved when they thought no one was watching. One morning, Mina overheard a conversation between the janitors and a security guard. They spoke quietly about Judge Haroon, a man known throughout the town for his authority. "He is clever, but something does not feel right," one of the janitors said. "He always smiles when people trust him, but he keeps secrets." Mina's curiosity was immediately piqued. She wanted to know more, but she also understood that she was just a maid's daughter. No one would listen to her if she asked questions openly. Still, she had a habit of noticing small things that others ignored. She watched Judge Haroon from afar, studying his expressions, the way he moved, and how the papers on his desk seemed to be arranged in a certain order. There was something in his behavior that felt strange to Mina, though she could not explain it. After that day, Mina started paying more attention to the courthouse. She listened to whispered conversations, watched the assistants as they carried files, and noticed which rooms people entered and exited. At home, she would sit with the little pile of newspapers she borrowed from her mother's work. She read about court cases, government spending, and reports about local businesses. The more she learned, the more she realized that even small mistakes or hidden secrets could have big consequences. Mina often talked to her mother about her dreams. "Mother, I want to help people who cannot speak for themselves," she said one evening while they ate dinner. Sarah smiled and held her daughter's hand. "Mina, you are brave and smart. Never think that being a maid's daughter is a limit. Your mind is your strength. One day you will make a difference." Her mother's words stayed with Mina. She felt a quiet determination growing inside her. She knew that if she wanted to change her life and help others, she had to observe, learn, and be ready when an opportunity came. Mina did not yet know what would happen or how soon it would come, but she was ready to notice every detail, every small clue, and every secret that others thought she could not see. As the sun set over the village, Mina sat by the small window in their home, staring at the distant courthouse. She imagined walking through those tall doors one day, not just as a visitor but as someone who could make people listen and make a difference. The dreams in her mind were growing larger every day. She felt a quiet excitement mixed with nervousness, because she knew that the world outside her small village was full of challenges, and she wanted to be ready for every one of them. Mina did not yet realize that her curiosity and courage would soon lead her into a journey that would change not only her life but the lives of many others in the town. The path ahead was unknown, but Mina felt that she was ready to take her first steps toward a future that no one could predict and no one could control except her. One bright morning, Mina went with her mother to the courthouse again. Sarah had to clean a large courtroom before the day's cases began. Mina carried a small bag with a notebook and pencil. She liked to draw and write observations about the people she saw and the things she learned. The courtroom was busy that morning, with lawyers arranging papers and clerks moving from one desk to another. Mina quietly followed her mother, careful not to disturb anyone. As Sarah polished the wooden benches, Mina wandered near the judge's chamber. She could see the tall door with a golden nameplate that read, Judge Haroon. She remembered the whispers she had overheard about him. Her curiosity grew stronger every day. She wondered what secrets might be hidden behind those doors. Suddenly, Mina tripped on the edge of a carpet and dropped a small stack of papers she had picked up from a nearby table. The papers scattered across the shiny floor, fluttering like birds. Mina quickly bent down to gather them, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. Judge Haroon was walking past at that moment. He stopped and looked at Mina. A cold smile appeared on his face and he shook his head. "A maid's daughter in the courtroom. How amusing," he said loudly, his voice echoing through the room. People nearby looked at Mina with curiosity. Some whispered to each other. Mina felt her heart pound, but she held her head high. She picked up the last of the papers carefully, making sure none were missing. While she was collecting the papers, Mina noticed something unusual. Some of the documents were not ordinary court papers. They had numbers and lists that did not seem to match normal cases. There were references to companies, accounts, and large sums of money. Mina's curiosity turned into excitement and fear at the same time. She had never seen such information before, and she did not understand all of it. But something inside her told her that these papers were important. She looked up at Judge Haroon, who was still watching her with a smirk. Mina felt a small spark of courage. She knew she had to keep the papers safe, at least for now, until she could understand what they meant. She carefully tucked the documents into her bag and continued helping her mother. Later that day, Mina returned home and sat at the small wooden table in their kitchen. She spread out the papers and tried to make sense of the numbers. Her eyes widened as she saw large sums of money, transfers between unknown accounts and strange company names that she had never heard of. Mina did not fully understand the financial details, but she sensed that this was something very serious, something that could change a lot of people's lives. Mina's mind raced with questions. How could a judge, someone supposed to be honest, be connected to such secret accounts? Was he taking money that did not belong to him? She felt a mixture of fear and determination. Fear because the man was very powerful, and determination because she knew she could not ignore what she had found. Her mother noticed Mina's unusual quietness. "Mina, what is troubling you?" Sarah asked gently. Mina looked into her mother's eyes and hesitated for a moment. She did not want to worry Sarah, but she could not keep this feeling inside. "Mother, I found something strange at the courthouse. Papers that do not make sense. I think they might show that Judge Haroon is hiding something," Mina said softly. Sarah's face grew serious. "Mina, you must be careful. This is dangerous. Powerful people do not like to be exposed," she warned. Mina nodded. She understood the risk, but she also knew she could not stop herself. She had always wanted to help people and bring the truth to light. This was her chance to make a difference, and she was determined to take it. That night, Mina stayed awake studying the papers. She marked names, numbers, and dates in her notebook. Each detail seemed to connect to the other, forming a pattern that only she could see. Mina realized that this was the beginning of something much bigger than she had ever imagined. She did not know exactly what would happen next, but she knew she had to follow the clues. Mina closed her eyes for a few moments and took a deep breath. Tomorrow she would return to the courthouse, watch closely, and gather more information. She felt a new sense of purpose. The young girl who had been laughed at in the courtroom was no longer afraid. She had found a secret, and she was ready to discover the truth no matter how difficult the path might be. The next morning, Mina woke up early, her heart full of determination. She could not stop thinking about the papers she had found the day before. Every detail seemed strange, and she felt that they were part of something much bigger than anyone realized. Mina knew she needed to study the documents carefully. She wanted to understand what Judge Haroon was hiding and why. At breakfast, Mina sat with her mother. Sarah noticed the serious look on her daughter's face. "You are very quiet today," she said. Mina nodded and smiled faintly. She did not want to worry her mother, but she also could not hide her thoughts. "Mother, I think I found something important." "It is about the judge," she said softly. Sarah's eyes widened and she put her hand on Mina's shoulder. "Be careful, Mina. You must be very careful," she said again. After breakfast, Mina returned to her small room and spread the papers on her bed. She carefully examined every number, every name, and every note she had copied. Some accounts were linked to companies she had never heard of. Large sums of money were moving from one account to another in a way that did not make sense. Mina felt a shiver run through her body. She realized that this was not ordinary paperwork. It was evidence of something serious, and she was holding it in her hands. Mina spent hours studying the documents. She compared numbers, traced connections, and wrote notes in her notebook. Slowly, a pattern began to appear. The judge was not just keeping secrets. He was moving money in ways that could not be explained. Large amounts of public funds were disappearing, and no one knew where they were going. Mina's eyes grew wide as she realized the total sum was more than $500 million. She could hardly believe it. How could one person hide such a large amount of money without anyone noticing? Even though Mina was afraid, she felt a strong sense of responsibility. She could not ignore what she had discovered. She remembered the stories she had read about brave people who stood up for the truth, even when it was dangerous. Mina wanted to be like them. She decided that she needed to gather more information carefully and find a way to expose the truth. Mina began to make a plan. She could not confront the judge directly because he was powerful and could easily ignore her. She needed proof that could not be denied. She thought about observing him, noting the people he met, the files he handled, and the ways he moved money secretly. Every detail could be important. Mina realized that her mind and her careful observation could be her strongest tools. Days passed and Mina quietly collected information. She visited the courthouse when her mother worked and watched from the corners. She noticed small habits of the judge, how he signed certain documents quickly and how assistants carried files without asking questions. Mina also returned home with more papers whenever she could. She studied them carefully, compared them, and noted every unusual transaction. One afternoon, Mina discovered a hidden folder among the files she had taken. It contained emails, contracts, and transfer records. Mina's heart beat fast. These documents showed the connections between Judge Haroon and secret companies. Every transaction led to another, forming a chain that linked him directly to the missing money. Mina could hardly contain her excitement and fear at the same time. She realized she had enough evidence to reveal the truth if she could do it carefully and wisely. That evening, Mina shared a small part of her discovery with her mother. Sarah listened silently, holding her daughter's hands tightly. "Mina, you are very brave," she said. "But remember, you must be careful. This is dangerous work." Mina nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility but also feeling stronger. She knew she could not turn back. She had discovered a secret that could change everything, and she was determined to follow it to the end. As Mina went to sleep that night, she thought about what she had found. The judge who had laughed at her was not as powerful as he seemed. She realized that knowledge and courage could be stronger than wealth and authority. Mina closed her eyes, imagining the day when the truth would come out, and she felt a quiet determination. She was ready to take the next step, to uncover more secrets and to bring justice to those who had been wronged. Mina knew that discovering the secret papers was only the beginning. She had learned that Judge Haroon was hiding something very important, but she needed more proof before anyone could believe her. Mina decided to observe the judge carefully, taking notes on his habits and the people around him. Every movement, every document, and every conversation could be a clue. She had to be clever and patient. The next morning, Mina went to the courthouse with her mother. Sarah was busy cleaning the large halls while Mina slipped quietly to a corner near the judge's office. She had a small notebook in her hand, ready to write everything she saw. Mina noticed the judge's assistants moving files in and out of the office. Some files were ordinary, but others had thick folders and shiny covers which Mina knew were different from the regular papers she had seen before. Mina also observed the judge closely. He appeared calm and confident, speaking politely to lawyers and visitors. However, Mina noticed small gestures that seemed secretive. Sometimes he would glance around before opening a folder. Sometimes he would speak quietly to an assistant and hand over a document. Mina wrote every detail in her notebook, careful not to be noticed. After observing for hours, Mina went home and studied her notes. She compared them to the documents she had collected earlier. Slowly, she began to see patterns. Certain files appeared only on specific days, and certain accounts were linked to hidden companies. Mina realized that if she could track all of these movements, she could connect the judge directly to the missing money. Mina decided to take photographs of the documents whenever she could. She found a small camera in her drawer and practiced using it. She learned how to take pictures quickly and quietly. The next day, she returned to the courthouse and carefully photographed a few files. Each image was stored safely in her bag. Mina felt a mix of excitement and fear. If anyone discovered what she was doing, she could be in trouble, but she knew this was important work. Mina also began to notice how the judge communicated with others. He often received messages through assistants, and he signed papers with a special stamp that only a few people could use. Mina made sketches of the stamps and recorded every detail of the communications. She knew that even small things could help build the bigger picture. Days turned into weeks, and Mina worked tirelessly. Every day she observed, noted, and photographed. She also compared every new document with the old ones, making connections and identifying patterns. Mina's mind was growing sharper. She was learning how people hid secrets and how money could be moved without anyone noticing. Her mother, Sarah, sometimes watched her daughter with a worried expression. "Mina, you are very brave, but remember to stay safe," she said. Mina smiled gently. "I will be careful, Mother. I am only watching and learning. No one will suspect me," she promised. Sarah nodded, trusting her daughter's intelligence and determination. One afternoon, Mina discovered something important. A large transfer was scheduled between two secret accounts. The amount was huge, and the files clearly showed that it was part of the judge's hidden scheme. Mina quickly wrote down every detail and took photographs of the records. She felt that this was a breakthrough. If she could use this evidence wisely, it would be impossible for anyone to deny the truth. That evening, Mina reviewed all her notes and photographs. She felt a sense of accomplishment, but also knew the work was far from over. The more she uncovered, the more dangerous it became. Mina understood that she needed to be clever, patient, and precise. She could not afford mistakes, but she also knew that every effort brought her closer to exposing the judge. As she went to bed, Mina felt a mixture of excitement and determination. She had collected proof, observed carefully, and connected important details. She was ready for the next step, knowing that one day her courage and intelligence would make a difference. Mina closed her eyes, imagining the day when the truth would be revealed, and she felt confident that she could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Mina had gathered a large collection of documents, photographs, and notes about Judge Haroon. Every day she studied them carefully, making connections and noticing patterns. She knew that she could not confront the judge alone. He was powerful, respected by many, and clever. Mina needed someone she could trust, someone who would help her use the evidence wisely and safely. One afternoon, while Mina was at the courthouse, she noticed Mr. Anwar, a kind and respected lawyer. He often came to the courthouse for his work, and Mina had seen him speak honestly and fairly in court. She decided that he might be someone she could trust. But approaching an adult about such a serious matter was not easy. Mina felt nervous, but her determination was stronger than her fear. Mina waited until Mr. Anwar finished his work and left his office. She ran to catch up with him and politely asked, "Sir, may I speak to you?" "It is important." Mr. Anwar looked surprised. He was not used to children stopping him in the courthouse. He knelt slightly to meet her eyes and said, "Of course, little one. What is it?" Mina took a deep breath and explained carefully that she had found unusual documents in the judge's office. She told him how she had observed the judge, collected evidence, and noticed large sums of money moving in secret accounts. Mr. Anwar listened quietly, nodding as she spoke. At first, he was unsure whether to believe her. A child could not easily gather such important information. But when Mina showed him photographs of the documents and her detailed notes, his eyes widened. "This is serious," Mr. Anwar said quietly. "If what you have found is true, it could change everything." Mina nodded. She explained that she wanted to expose the truth safely, so that no one would get hurt and the law could act fairly. Mr. Anwar smiled gently. "You are very brave, Mina. I will help you, but we must be very careful. Powerful people do not like to be exposed." Together, Mina and Mr. Anwar made a plan. First, they would organize all the documents and photographs. Every file, every note, and every photograph had to be checked carefully. They needed to make sure there were no mistakes and that every piece of evidence was clear and understandable. Mina worked day and night with Mr. Anwar, arranging the files, connecting the accounts, and preparing a timeline of events. Next, they decided how to present the evidence. It could not be done secretly, and it could not be done alone. The best place would be the courtroom, where witnesses, lawyers, and reporters could see everything. If the judge tried to deny the facts, the proof would be visible and undeniable. Mina felt a thrill of excitement mixed with nervousness. This plan could work, but only if they were careful. They also prepared a strategy to stay safe. Mina's mother, Sarah, helped by keeping track of the household and making sure Mina had enough rest and food. Mr. Anwar promised to guide Mina step by step, explaining the law and the proper way to present evidence. Mina realized that courage alone was not enough. She needed careful planning, knowledge, and trust. Over the next few days, Mina practiced explaining the information to Mr. Anwar. She learned how to speak clearly, how to show the documents, and how to connect the details in a simple way that anyone could understand. Each time she explained, she felt more confident. Her fear slowly turned into determination. She realized that she was no longer just a curious girl. She was someone who could act, someone who could reveal the truth. Finally, Mina and Mr. Anwar reviewed everything one last time. They had organized the documents, verified the evidence, and prepared a step-by-step presentation. Mina felt ready. She knew the next step would be the most difficult, but she was prepared. Her mind was sharp, her heart was steady, and her courage was strong. The moment to reveal the truth was near, and Mina was ready to face it with confidence. The day finally arrived. Mina felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness as she walked into the courthouse with Mr. Anwar. She carried a folder with all the evidence carefully organized. Her mother, Sarah, stayed behind, worried but proud. Mina knew this was the moment she had been preparing for. The courtroom was full. Lawyers, clerks, and reporters were present, waiting for the day's cases. Mina felt her heart beat faster as she saw Judge Haroon enter. He looked confident and calm, as if nothing could trouble him. But Mina noticed a small change in his expression when he saw her. He remembered the girl who had dropped papers weeks before. A faint smirk appeared on his face, and he whispered something to his assistant. Mina took a deep breath. She reminded herself of all the preparations she and Mr. Anwar had done. She would present the evidence clearly, step by step, and no one could ignore the facts. Mr. Anwar gave her a reassuring nod. "Stay calm, Mina. Speak clearly." "You are ready," he said softly. Mina nodded, holding her folder tightly. When the judge called the first case, Mina and Mr. Anwar asked to be allowed to present their findings. The judge looked surprised and laughed. "A maid's daughter thinks she can teach me about law?" he said, his voice full of amusement. The courtroom fell silent. Everyone looked at Mina. She felt a small wave of fear, but she held her head high. She had worked too hard to let fear stop her now. Mina opened her folder and began. She spoke clearly and confidently. She showed the documents, photographs, and notes she had gathered over the past weeks. She explained how Judge Haroon had moved money through secret accounts, connected to companies no one had known about. She described the patterns she had discovered, the dates and the transactions step by step. Every detail was backed by evidence that anyone could see. Judge Haroon tried to interrupt her. He raised his voice and denied everything. "These are lies. This child cannot understand the law," he shouted. But Mina did not flinch. She calmly held up her photographs and documents, showing how each one connected to the next. The courtroom watched in silence. People whispered to each other as they saw the clear proof in Mina's hands. Mr. Anwar supported her by explaining the legal connections in simple terms. He showed how the accounts and transfers were unusual, how they were connected to public money, and how they could not be explained legally. Mina followed each explanation with her own notes, pointing to evidence that confirmed his words. Slowly, the judge's smirk faded. He realized that the proof was undeniable. The atmosphere in the courtroom changed. Lawyers, clerks, and reporters were focused entirely on the documents. The audience could see the clear chain of transactions and the secret accounts. The more Mina explained, the more it became impossible to deny. Judge Haroon's confidence began to falter. His hands trembled slightly, and he could no longer speak clearly. Finally, Mina concluded her presentation. She looked at the judge directly and said, "This evidence shows the truth. No one is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions." Her voice was calm, steady, and strong. The courtroom was silent for a moment. Then a few people whispered in agreement. Some reporters quickly began writing down every detail. Judge Haroon sat down, pale and quiet. He could no longer hide behind his authority. The evidence was too clear, too well organized, and too public to be ignored. Mina had done what many thought was impossible. She had faced a powerful man, presented undeniable proof, and exposed the truth with courage and intelligence. Mina felt a sense of pride and relief. She had worked hard, studied carefully, and followed the plan. The risk had been great, but her preparation and bravery had made it possible. Mr. Anwar smiled at her. quietly praising her determination and skill. Mina knew that this was only the beginning, but it was the moment that would change everything. The morning sun filled the hospital room with warmth. Rafi woke up feeling stronger than ever. His body was healing and his heart was full of courage. Amira sat beside him, brushing his hair gently. "Good morning, Rafi. You look healthy today," she said with a smile. Rafi tried to sit up on the bed. "I feel much stronger today, Amira," he said softly. His eyes sparkled with determination. Imran arrived shortly after with a kind smile. "Good morning, Rafi," he said. "Today we will continue your treatment and I want you to try a little more exercise." "You are ready for it," Rafi nodded. He wanted to be strong enough to help others. He remembered how weak he had felt when he first came to the hospital. Now, with Imran's guidance and Amira's support, he felt confident that he could face anything. As Rafi practiced walking slowly around the room, a nurse came in with a worried expression. "Doctor, there is a new emergency in the hospital," she said. "A child in another ward has fallen seriously ill and the staff is struggling to manage." Imran's eyes softened. "Thank you for letting me know. Rafi, I need to go and help. Stay here with Amira and rest. You have already done enough for today." Rafi felt a little disappointed. He wanted to help, but he knew that resting was important. "I will wait, doctor," he said. While Imran left, Rafi looked around the room. He noticed how clean and organized everything was now. The staff had learned from the past and the hospital felt different. It was no longer a place of fear, but a place of care and kindness. Suddenly, the door opened and the director of the hospital entered with a gentle smile. "Good morning, Rafi," he said kindly. "I have heard about your bravery and patience. You have inspired everyone in this hospital. I wanted to meet you in person." Rafi felt his heart beat faster. He looked at Amira, who whispered, "Just be yourself, Rafi. You have already shown courage every day." Rafi nodded shyly. "Hello, sir," he said quietly. The director knelt down to meet Rafi's eyes. "You have taught a very important lesson, Rafi. You waited patiently even when people were unkind. You stayed brave and kind, and that is very special. Today, because of your courage, we will make sure every patient receives proper care, no matter who they are." Rafi felt a warm feeling in his chest. He had never imagined that his small actions could change so much. Amira hugged him gently. "See, Rafi? Good things come to those who are brave and patient." Later, Imran returned and checked on Rafi. "You are doing very well," he said. "Your body is strong and your heart is stronger. Today I want to give you a little task. I want you to encourage another child in the hospital who feels scared or weak. You can help them feel brave like you did." Rafi's eyes widened. "I can do that?" he asked. Imran nodded. "Yes, Rafi. You have learned how to be strong and kind. Now you can share that courage with someone else." A few minutes later, a small boy walked into the room looking frightened and sick. Rafi smiled gently and held out his hand. "Hello, my name is Rafi. Don't be scared. You will feel better soon. I will help you," he said softly. The boy looked at Rafi with wide eyes, then slowly smiled. Amira watched proudly as Rafi spoke kindly and encouraged the boy. Rafi realized that true bravery was not just about facing your own fears, but also helping others face theirs. As the day passed, Rafi continued to grow stronger. He practiced walking, ate properly, and encouraged other children who were scared or weak. The hospital staff noticed the change. They saw how one small boy's courage and patience could inspire many people and improve the entire environment. By evening, Rafi and Amira sat by the window, holding hands and watching the golden sunset. The hospital garden glowed warmly and birds chirped softly. Rafi whispered, "Amira, I feel strong in my body and my heart. I think I can help many people now." Amira smiled and hugged him gently. "Yes, Rafi, you have learned something very special. Courage and kindness will always guide you. Tomorrow will be another day to grow stronger and help others." Rafi closed his eyes, feeling peace and happiness. He had faced challenges, waited patiently, and stayed brave. Now he knew that even the smallest person could make a big difference. The morning sun shone brightly on the hospital, filling every corner with warmth. Rafi woke up feeling stronger and happier than ever. His small body was almost fully healed, and his heart was filled with courage. Amira sat beside him, smiling. "Good morning, Rafi. You look amazing today," she said. Rafi smiled back. "I feel amazing, Amira. I want to help more people today," he said softly. Imran entered the room shortly after with a cheerful look. Good morning, Rafi. Today we will continue your exercises and I have a special task for you. Are you ready? Rafi nodded eagerly. Yes, doctor. I am ready. Imran smiled and handed Rafi a small clipboard. I want you to encourage other children who are scared or weak. You can share your courage and help them feel stronger. Rafi's eyes shone with determination. He stood up slowly, holding Amira's hand for support. I can do this, he whispered. Amira squeezed his hand. I know you can, Rafi. You have learned how to be brave and kind. As Rafi walked through the hospital corridors, other children looked at him with curiosity. Some were afraid, some were sick and weak. Rafi smiled gently and said, Hello, my name is Rafi, don't be scared. You will feel better soon. I am here to help you. The children slowly smiled and began to feel calm. Some even tried to walk with him, inspired by his courage. Nurses and doctors watched quietly, impressed by how much a small boy could change the atmosphere of the hospital. Meanwhile, the staff who had ignored Rafi earlier were filled with deep regret. They remembered how cruel they had been, laughing and refusing to help him. Now they saw the boy they had mocked walking proudly, helping others and inspiring everyone around him. Their hearts were heavy with shame. The director of the hospital walked down the corridor and noticed the scene. He stopped watching Rafi encourage a small group of children. He called the staff together and spoke kindly but firmly. Look at this boy. He shows patience, courage, and kindness. He has taught all of us an important lesson. We must never judge or refuse anyone again. Every patient deserves respect and care. The staff lowered their heads, feeling truly sorry. Some whispered apologies to each other and to the children they had ignored. They realized that their actions had caused harm, but they could learn from Rafi's bravery. Rafi returned to his room with Amira, feeling proud and happy. Imran followed him and said kindly, Rafi, you have done more than anyone could ask. You have not only healed yourself but also inspired everyone around you. You are a true hero. Rafi blushed and whispered, I just wanted to get better, doctor. I didn't think I could help anyone else. Imran smiled. True courage always inspires others, Rafi. You have shown that even a small person can make a big difference. By evening, the hospital had transformed. Children laughed and played in the garden. Nurses and doctors worked with care and kindness. The staff remembered their mistake and promised themselves to treat everyone with respect from now on. Rafi's patience and courage had left a lasting impression. Amira sat beside Rafi by the window holding his hand. Rafi, look how much has changed. Your bravery has helped everyone, she said softly. Rafi smiled. I feel happy, Amira. Not just because I am better, but because I could help others too. The director visited Rafi one last time before he left for the day. Rafi, I am proud of you, he said warmly. You have taught all of us the value of patience, kindness, and courage. The hospital will always remember what you have done. Rafi felt a warm glow in his heart. He had faced illness, fear, and unkindness, but he had never given up. Through patience and bravery, he had inspired others and changed the hospital forever. As the sun set, Rafi and Amira looked at the colorful sky. Rafi whispered, Amira, I have learned something very important. Bravery is not only facing your own fears, but also helping others when they are afraid. Amira hugged him tightly. Yes, Rafi, you are brave, kind, and strong. Tomorrow will be another day full of hope. Rafi closed his eyes, feeling peace and happiness. He knew that he had made a difference and that his courage would continue to inspire everyone around him. The hospital, once cold and uncaring, had been transformed by the heart of one small boy. And in that moment, Rafi realized that true strength comes from patience, kindness, and the courage to face life with hope and love.